In terms of my favorite movies and characters of all time, I've really only mentioned Spider-Man on this channel before. But there is another franchise that has been bringing me nothing but joy and gleeful escape ever since I was a child. The Toy Story franchise. These are some of my favorite movies of all time. I grew up watching Toy Story 1 and 2 all the time as a kid and collected so many toys. Seriously, look at this picture. That's not even all of them. I was there opening night to see Toy Story 3 and was emotionally moved by that film, even at like 12 years old, giving me a new appreciation for my childhood and the toys that came with it. And though many people dismiss Toy Story 4 as just a cheap cash grab, I was ecstatic when it was announced and thought that though Toy Story 3 was the perfect ending for Andy and his toys, Toy Story 4 was the near perfect epilogue that sent off our main character, Woody, with emotion and grace. So long story short, Toy Story is easily my favorite franchise, right behind Spider-Man, and those movies have and will always hold a special place in my heart. So with that in mind, how is Lightyear? Is it any good? Is it a worthy origin story for the titular Space Ranger? Does it live up to Pixar's storytelling and the emotional highs of the Toy Story movies? Hi, I'm Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions. Before we get started with my review of Lightyear, please go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, let's just get into it. Lightyear tells the story of the titular Space Ranger, Buzz Lightyear. Now, this may be a bit confusing for audiences that only know the Tim Allen voiced toy from the other movies, but some on-screen text at the beginning of this movie helps to clear that up a little bit. So the premise is that in the 90s, Lightyear was a sci-fi live-action movie canonically released in the Toy Story universe. Andy, as a kid, went to see that with his mom. That became his favorite movie. He asked for a Buzz Lightyear toy for his birthday, and here we are. So with that admittedly kind of complicated premise out of the way, let's get into the movie. In the film, Space Ranger Buzz and his commanding officer slash best friend, Alicia Hawthorne, are on a mission with hundreds of cryogenically frozen people to find a hospitable planet and start a new colony. Unfortunately, they run into problems, and due to a bit of a mistake on Buzz's part, the entire colony ends up marooned on that planet. From there, as the colonists settle in, Buzz offers himself to take test flights to get the colony back to traveling through hyperspace looking for a hospitable planet. But after he comes back from his first mission, he realizes something terrible and tragic. A test flight for hyperspace subjects Buzz to relative time dilation, which you probably might understand if you've seen Interstellar. Basically, it means that a 4-minute flight equals 4 years back on the planet. This immediately adds stakes and emotional resonance to this film, because every time Buzz comes back from his mission, he finds Alicia older. She has a family. The colony grows and develops and becomes a real civilization, all while Buzz is staying the same age. Alicia also gives Buzz an adorable robot cat companion named Socks to help him stay emotionally stable and adapt to the time dilation, and he quickly becomes a standout character. Eventually, one test flight too far leads Buzz far in the future, where the planet is now under the threat of Zurg and his robot minions, leading Buzz to team up with Alicia's now adult granddaughter, the confident yet inexperienced Izzy, the naive yet loyal Mo, and the ex-con explosives wizard, Darby. From there, the movie gives us a fun space epic with plenty of heart, humor, and plot, with plenty of references and in-jokes coming from Buzz and his character that any Toy Story fan will be able to spot right away. So let's start on the positives. Wow, is this animation beautiful and impeccably detailed and rendered. The crew wanted this to feel like a real, legitimate sci-fi movie, and the visuals go above and beyond to make that true. But it just bears repeating that this animation is fucking amazing, especially when you compare it with the animation from the first Toy Story movie up to now to see just how far Pixar CGI has come. Every frame of this movie is filled to the brim with detail, from the intensely colorful and bright visuals of the hyperspace sequences to the scenery of the planet this movie takes place on, Takani Prime. Takani Prime is an absolutely stunning planet with a combination of desert sandscapes and rocks interwoven with foliage and dense forests, which really makes this planet feel truly alien and unique. Every other location in the film is beautiful as well, and everything from the character designs to the way the ships fly to the way the robots move and even to the way that the weapons are fired and what comes out of them feels so fleshed out and provides such a visually striking experience that'll stick in your head for days after just thinking about the visuals, especially if you saw it in 3D. This film also doesn't skimp on the heart and emotion. It's not quite as emotional as other Pixar fare like Up or Soul, and it doesn't even get close to the impact of Toy Story 3's ending and to a lesser extent Toy Story 4's ending, but this film does offer plenty of heart in terms of the characters and their stories. Buzz, voiced by Chris Evans this time, feels like a very three-dimensional character, a separate character from the toy portrayed by Tim Allen, while still featuring some of that Tim Allen weight and heft to his voice, and the charm. especially when he's repeating lines that Tim Allen has said in other Toy Story movies. His driving force of wanting to finish his mission no matter what the cost, especially knowing that everyone is stuck on Takani Prime because of him, conflicts very well with his desire to have friends and a family. And this is present throughout the entire movie and informs his character all the way through his character arc, and his arc wraps up pretty well at the end. Also, as a huge Toy Story fan, I just love how much they brought the Buzz character that we know and love out in this variation. He has plenty of lines that come directly from Tim Allen's Buzz, like, "There seems to be no sign of intelligent life anywhere," or "I'm Buzz Lightyear, I'm always sure."
I'm Buzz Lightyear, I'm always sure.
That just scratches the surface from the references that you get in this movie. And the animation of his movement, flight maneuvers, fighting technique, they all feel like they come right out of Toy Story 2, especially from that beginning video game scene with Zurg. And I absolutely adored the organic ways that they brought in other parts of his character, like his laser and his wings. The rest of the heart from the film comes from Buzz's relationship with Alicia and her granddaughter Izzy. He and Alicia's, voiced by Uzo Aduba, friendship is fleshed out as well as it can be with the limited time they get in the beginning of the movie, that when Buzz starts his test flights and we start to see Alicia get older, get married to her wife, have her kid, and just experience her entire life while Buzz is only been gone for minutes at a time, that relationship and the way it gets built up and that whole direction that that scene goes is just so emotional. And it's very reminiscent of the first 10 minutes of Up with how much it just gives you a gut punch before getting into the meat of the story. And once Buzz meets Izzy, voiced by Keke Palmer, who is having a hell of a comeback right now from her Disney Channel days, their relationship and conflict comes from Buzz expecting Izzy to basically be her grandmother, not understanding that she's her own person. That makes for a very interesting dynamic between the two, with the conflict and awkwardness in their initial meeting leading to a very strong bond by the end of the movie. Buzz also forms a very strong bond with Socks, voiced by Peter Son, who was Emile from Ratatouille and Squishy from Monster University. That dude has such great voice talent. Socks is like an adorable blend of R2-D2 and C-3PO, having the smarts and tools to help the crew out of a bunch of different situations while also having plenty of one-liners and hilarious dialogue. He also has some really cute moments where they play up the fact that he's a robot cat. And there's also a scene or two of genuine heartfelt emotion coming from him, which is essentially just comic relief AI. So very well done with that character. The rest of the characters are fine, but they could have used a bit more development. Mo has some strong jokes and one-liners throughout the movie, but he's never really developed past being incompetent, even when he starts to smarten up and be more useful towards the end of the movie. That being said though, he's voiced by Taika Waititi, and you have to be made of stone to not be charmed by that dude's Kiwi accent.
Well, I thought this was going to be like a fun boot camp workout thing, but it is not.
And then Darby, voiced by Dale Soules, is probably the weakest character in the movie. She doesn't really have much to do besides just kind of being the eccentric ex-con with a penchant for explosives. This is only evident in a few scenes though, as the writers thankfully have our four main characters stay together through most of the movie, bringing in plenty of heart, humor, and strong dialogue from those scenes. Now that I've discussed the plot and the characters, I want to discuss the last thing that the movie really has going for it. The score. Surprise, surprise, Michael Giacchino killed it yet again, giving Lightyear a score that bounces between ethereal sci-fi melodies to slow emotional beats and epic, upbeat action near seamlessly, elevating this already great movie to infinity and beyond. Now that the good things are out of the way, I'm going to talk about the one thing in this movie that I hesitate to say whether it's good or bad because I'm honestly not even sure how I feel about it yet. So if you know anything about Toy Story and a bit of the lore that we get about Buzz in those movies, you know that the evil Emperor Zurg is his main nemesis, his Darth Vader. They even make a joke about Zurg being his father in Toy Story 2. Well, in this film, Zurg is a bit of a mystery. His ship appears out of nowhere after Buzz comes back from a hyperspace test. His robots attack, and no one really understands why or even really knows that Zurg exists. This adds some real tension to the film though, as whenever Zurg does show up in those first two acts, he's really scary. His redesign makes him big and intimidating, almost looking like a 10-foot tall, unstoppable robot that will destroy everything in his way just to get to Buzz. But when it's revealed and we know exactly who Zurg is and his motivations, I was a little confused to say the least. I've been thinking about the twists that they picked for this character ever since I saw the movie, and I'm really not sure if I like it or not. Yeah, the reveal does help to close out Buzz's character arc for the film and gives them a big bad to fight, and James Brolin does do a great job with the voice acting, but the more I think about the reveal, the more questions I end up with, leaving it to be one of the parts that left me the most conflicted about the film. That's as far as I can go without taking it into spoilers, and that sucks because I really want to talk about this, but if you saw the movie and you have thoughts about that reveal, let me know in the comments below. Just make sure to tag your spoilers. That was really the only problem I had with the film, and I wouldn't even consider it a real problem, just something that I'm a little conflicted about. I'm not really sure how to feel. Maybe if I see it again, it'll help me concretely form my opinion, But even if I decide that I don't like the direction they took with Zurg in this movie, there's plenty of opportunity to fix that in the future, and the rest of the film was really great. And that's what I thought about Lightyear. A great origin story for one of the most beloved animated characters of all time, albeit with a bit of a confusing premise and a weird villain twist that I still am not sure how I feel about. This movie has top of the line, truly amazing CGI, a strong, layered sci-fi story, a well-developed main character with a strong arc, and heart, wit, and humor. Anyways, that's what I thought about Lightyear, Pixar's newest movie, and I hope you enjoy it too. If you saw it, please let me know what you thought in the comments below, and make sure to tag your spoilers if you use any. The movie just came out. But that's all I got, so please go ahead and subscribe, leave a like, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you on the next one.